Today I'm joined by Bandy, who's Managing Director at Redemperor. How are you today, Greg?
I'm well, thanks, Zach.
Okay, you've got an exploration company operating in the frozen wastes of Alaska. Tell us about the project that you've got there.
We are part of an exciting joint venture in Alaska, in the North Slope of Alaska, a very prolific oil-producing region. We're drilling an exploration well in February next year, a massive 400 million barrel oil target. We're drilling it with a known and proven operator in the region, 88 Energy, and we're extremely excited about drawing closer to getting things moving early next year.
And how did you find this massive resource, for a small company anyway?
Well, how did we find the project?
Yeah.
It came via a couple of known associates, and it was acquired from a private company by the name of Great Bear Petroleum, who were under a little bit of financial duress at the time, and we were able to act quickly. We had a large cash balance, which gave us the ability to confidently enter into a transaction such as this in pretty short order, and similarly with 88 Energy and also Otto, our other partners. So we're pretty swift to move, but predominantly because we were well financed to do so.
Well, I mean, the good financing is probably the result of management experience. That's very often the key in the smaller companies area. What's the CV of the people involved?
Well, myself as managing director, I'm about 15 years as a stockbroker prior to entering the other side of the corporate fence, if you will, and took over the running of Redemperor in late 2011. I'm joined on the board by a couple of very well credentialed corporate people, but more importantly, we've added to the management of Redemperor with a 20-year oil and gas industry veteran in Grazian Lambert. For the last 10 years, he's been at ExxonMobil, and based in Houston. He's moved back to Perth. Geophysicist, excellent CV and resume, and coupled with our corporate skills and his technical skills, we've got a very well-rounded board and management team.
Well, I mean, this is sounds to me like a rather large asset that you've got here. Is it difficult? Will it be difficult to get the stuff out of the ground?
What we're looking for in the particular sands and the geology on the North Slope, what we're targeting is relatively shallow, very easily extractable, very good source rocks, and in a jurisdiction that's relatively close to infrastructure and soon to be development. It ticks all the boxes in what you want to see from not only geologically sound from an exploration perspective, but in the hopeful event of discovery, it ticks all the boxes of being near all the right infrastructure.
Right, and are there any particular? I mean, presumably it gets a little bit nippy in the winter. What are the other local factors in your area?
Alaska is an interesting jurisdictional place to work and operate. You can only drill there in the winter. The summer months are almost impossible to traverse the terrain. So winter comes, the snow falls, the ground gets compacted, you pour water onto the snow, you create ice roads, and you're able to mobilise equipment to site. So it's a unique operating experience. It's almost entirely in the darkness in the Arctic Circle during the winter, so it's not without its challenges. But having said that, our operator, 88 Energy, has successfully been operating and drilling wells in Alaska for the last few years. We're in very capable hands, and everybody is very well placed to carry out this, hopefully on time and on budget.
And what are the timelines for next year then? You'll be drilling in the dark to start off with. What happens after that? So,
well, leading up to that will be all the logistical work in terms of compacting the ice and building the ice roads, and that will predominantly be during the month of January. And all things going well weather-wise, we should be mobilising a rig to site during the month of February, and fingers crossed we'll be drilling in February.
So you'll be going from being an explorer to a producer. At what point? When's the key?
We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. It's an exploration well, and we need to drill to a target depth, and hopefully we've got some good oil shows there to test, and on the back of testing, hopefully we can prove up some oil reserves in the ground. Post that, we'll sit back and take a look at what we might have and hopefully have discovered, and that will be then a decision for the joint venture as to whether it's a development scenario or a corporate scenario with many of the other operators in the area.
And this sounds like a relatively quick. From this point on, we'll find out pretty quickly. There's not a long road ahead. I mean, it's relatively soon.
Yeah, we entered into the transaction in July, and we've been going through the regulatory and permitting phase during the North American summer months, and we've been patiently waiting for winter to come, as they say. So once things start mobilising to site early next year, it will be a fairly quick timeline for that definitive result that hopefully goes our way.
Finally, I mean, you've got 400 million barrels here, possibly. Are there any other opportunities or projects you'll be looking at?
In Alaska or
anywhere else?
Well, I mean, we're one of the reasons for bringing on and rounding out the management of the company with Grazian, with someone of his credentials, is to help round out the portfolio of Redemperor. We're constantly looking for other assets and other projects, but they're not easy to find. To find a project of this size for a relatively modest cost of drilling is almost unheard of. So we've got a fairly tight and stringent set of guidelines that we would like an asset to fit, and as I said, it takes a lot of looking, and you need to be patient because you don't want to be just transacting for deal's sake. We've always been well capitalised, and we continue to be patient looking for the right deals, but we're really happy with the one we've got, and we're really excited about drilling it in the first quarter of next year.
Greg Bandy, Managing Director at Redemperor, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.